Η γνώση σήμερα είναι ένα κλικ υπόθεση. Αυτό οφείλεται φυσικά στο Ίντερνετ, αλλά δεν θα ήταν υπερβολή να πούμε ότι οφείλεται σε μεγάλο βαθμό και στη Wikipedia, τη διαδικτυακή πλατφόρμα που έφερε τα πάνω κάτω, κάνοντας την πρόσβαση στην πληροφορία μια πάρα πολύ απλή ιστορία. Ένας από τους ιδρυτές της Wikipedia, ο Λάρι Σάγκερ, βρίσκεται στην Αθήνα για να δώσει τα φώτα του σε νέους επιχειρηματίες και φιλομαθείς δημοσιογράφους όπως οι υποφαινόμενοι. Πάμε να τον συναντήσουμε.
Πολύ ενδιαφέρον, αλλά μας περιμένει ο άνθρωπος.
So, how did you come up with the idea of Wikipedia?
A friend named Ben Kovitz told me about his hobby at the time, which was writing for wikis. And I had never heard of wikis before. And basically, over the course of the dinner, he explained how they work, and I thought this might be just the tool that we would need to get ordinary people involved in creating an encyclopedia, and that's exactly what it became. Of course, just getting the idea is not what made Wikipedia happen. It was the actual process of, there was already a community in place from Newpedia days to work on it.
Don't you think that Wikipedia revolutionized the access to knowledge?
Absolutely. So before Wikipedia, if you had a question, it would take you potentially hours to come up with an answer if you had to make a trip to the library, look it up in a newspaper archives or whatever. And today, all of that work has been done for you, at least in many cases, by people on Wikipedia. Even if I am occasionally critical of Wikipedia, nevertheless, I've always maintained that Wikipedia is extremely useful, and the main way that it is useful is by saving us so much time. Today, I'd say my criticism is not so much a criticism as just a reminder to people that we can do better. I think that these sorts of communities should be maximally open. They should be open to everyone. Everyone should feel comfortable getting involved. So I think there is still room for experts, where there could be more room for experts in the project. There has never been a serious effort to organize experts to approve Wikipedia articles or versions of Wikipedia articles, to my knowledge anyway.
So let's talk about your new project, about Infobit.
First of all, Infobit is focused on the news, on front page, hard news. We want to do for the news what Wikipedia did for encyclopedias. It actually aggregates facts from many different sources, which could even include things like tweets and videos and so forth. So by getting a lot of people into the business of news editing, essentially, and news summarizing, that allows us to reach down into the long tail of all the essentially the citizen journalism that goes on things like Twitter and citizen journalism websites. We have a limited amount of time to spend on the news, right? But we have an unlimited appetite for knowing what is going on. A lot of people don't really think of it as much of a problem that the news is so noisy. There's just so much of it out there, and it repeats itself, and then there's all the clickbait and the human interest stories and all kinds of other stuff that basically distracts you from your task of finding out what's going on in the world. And there's so much news out there. There's this massive opportunity to get everybody in the world together to make sense of all the information that's passing before us every day. So I'm sure there's some automatic tools that can help people do that, but ultimately that's something that could only be done with a massive online peer production community.
Here in Greece, young people are very much interested in startups. And how would you advise them?
I really think it's important to think through your startup ideas and not just go off half-cocked. When I say this, I don't mean write a detailed business plan. One of the exercises that I like to do whenever I start a new project is, suppose this project fails, okay? And I'm doing a post-mortem. I'm trying to decide why it failed. What would be the main reason? Okay, based on everything that I know about the idea, about how people have reacted to the idea, and so forth, then I go to work on those things and try to mitigate the risks as much as possible.
You spent a lot of time online, surfing in the internet.
Yeah, probably too much, my wife thinks. Yeah.
And you have kids, right?
Yes.
How do you advise them to use?
How do I advise them? Well, so the younger one is too little to do much hunting around yet. I guess he started. He doesn't need much advice. The older one, I take away his computer privileges as a punishment. You know, if he's naughty. So obviously, I try to make sure that he reads lots of good books, lots of classics. I love the internet myself and have tried to build parts of it. I still think that books are the main repository of knowledge, and it would be clearly a bad thing if our kids were looking at screens all day long, you know? I think there are obviously many wonderful things about the internet,
Yeah, sure.
and so many things that we can use it to do. You also have to remember to go outside, get exercise, you know, use your bodies, you know, and turn it off occasionally.
Thank you.